If you hear someone knocking on your door at night, don't answer it. The knockings were what had awoken me. 3 rapt sounds spaced equally, sounding loud and deafening to my sleep-addled brain. I lay in my bed, incapacitated and trying to get my bearings. Finally willing my body up, I got out of bed and threw a sideways glance at my bedside clock. 3:15 a.m. Who would visit me so late in the night? I considered the possibilities. I didn't have any close friends or any family left. Perhaps someone was in trouble and had come to my door for help, I thought. Opening my bedroom door and shuffling down the stairs to get to the front door, I realized something. The knocking had continued in a steady, rhythmic pace. 3 knocks, followed by a 3-second pause, and then 3 knocks again, sounding looped and automated in their delivery. Peeked out at this revelation, I walked as quietly as I could towards the entrance of my house and stared through the peephole. Knock, knock, knock. As I peered through, I saw nothing but darkness, so I pressed my hand against the porch light switch and turned it on. Nothing. It had remained as dark as if I had never switched the light on at all. Was the light broken? I had certainly never noticed it before. Or, I thought, chills running down my spine. Whoever was knocking on my door must have intentionally blocked it, as not even the faint glow of a streetlight was visible. "Hello," I called out, my voice sounding small and timid against the darkness. "Do you need help?" I continued, waiting for some type of response. Knock, knock, knock. "Hey, if you aren't going to stop, I'll call the police." This situation was more than a little weird to me, what with the continuous knocking of the mysterious person. No reply. Now, silently sweating, I began to think, what if whoever was knocking on my door were injured badly or in need of help some way? Unable to speak, I couldn't just ignore someone that could potentially be in danger, right? But that still didn't explain the peephole being blocked. Maybe they were leaning against the frame too badly, injured to do anything except knock. And yet, "I'm going to open the door, okay?" Managed to clear away via complications. Certainly more time was saved up. If the person on the other side heard me, they certainly gave no indication. I slowly unlatched and unlocked my door, my hand now resting on the handle. With a deep breath, I swung the door open, only to be met with nothing. I took a step outside, confused at seeing only darkness at my door. But then I saw it first. And it was then when I was attacked. A large creature, because this was a creature, pushed me on my stomach, knocking the wind out of my lungs, leaving me dazed and bewildered. It turned me around, and what I saw made my blood run cold and caused me to scream like I had never before. "Ashore," explained Syme. The creature loomed tall and unnatural over me. Its face sheened with a pale glow, while its eyes, sunken and black, bore into my soul. Its limbs gangly and long, yet muscular beyond human proportions. Its skin was ashy and black, and it seemed to pull in and absorb light around us. Its face hideous and horrifying, its lips curled into a sick and cruel smile, revealing its huge and sharp teeth. I tried to scream again, to break free, to do anything, but the creature had a hold of me and did not let me move even a single inch. The frog had peeked its head out from behind the dervishes and caught us in its misty eyes. "You shouldn't have done that," it cackled as it continued to push me down. "You really shouldn't have opened that door, but now you've let me in." The creature's voice was low and raspy, like the creaking of wood under pressure. It leaned in closer, breathing its cold and horrible breath on my nostrils, filling it with the smell of rot and decay. What are you?" I choked out, my heart pounding in my chest, feeling as if it may burst. "You want to know what I am?" It drawled slowly, building up pressure on my chest. "Who or what I am is of no concern to you right now, because you see, you made the mistake of letting me in," the creature whispered into my ear, malice evident in each word it spoke, seeming to take pleasure in the fear it brought me. "You invited me." I tried pushing against it, but its strength locked me in place, my efforts as futile as an ant trying to push over an elephant. The harder I pushed, the weaker my arms felt, until I could no longer feel them, and they lay at my side, weak and useless. The creature, which had so easily resisted my attempts at escape, now started devouring me. Its jagged and sharp teeth facing little problem in cutting my skin and crushing my bones, filling the air with the metallic scent of blood, and causing my body to rack in pain as I felt each bite tear deeper within my flesh. I tried to scream again, but all that came out was the gurgle of blood that began to pool in the back of my throat, slowly drowning me, all whilst the creature continued its feast. Panic and anxiety now began to roll over my mind in waves, causing me much terror I'm sure was deliberate. The creature seemed to feed off my emotions as much as my body, growing larger by the second. 4. As it continued to feed on me, I slowly started losing consciousness, my vision flickering, until the only sense I had remaining were sounds of knocking? Then everything went black. Knock, knock. I woke up with a start on my bed, clutching my throat as I lay in a pool of my own sweat, screaming, "Da!" I gasped for air, my chest heaving as the remnants of my nightmare clung to my mind like thick smoke. My throat burned and my heart pounded violently in my chest. I blinked my eyes rapidly, trying to stave off my confusion and daze, while I tried to reconcile what had happened. My room was dark and dim as I cast my gaze around. I put a hand on my neck, searching for injury, and felt nothing. No blood, no marks, nothing to indicate that I had been wounded or that I had been bitten there. All that remained was my pulse beating steadily, as if nothing had happened. And yet, he positioned the stem glass of his own teacup between his teeth and dipped his head as he processed me. And yet, no, knock knock. The sounds echoed like a gunshot in my mind. I jumped out of bed, stumbling over my bedside table and knocking it on the floor in the process, its contents scattered all over, with the clock landing beside me. I scrambled to my feet, unable to believe what I was hearing. Was my dream real? Did the creature from my nightmare come to life and is now attacking me again? Tentatively, I searched for a sack with the lid, but there was nothing. As these thoughts raced in my mind, I thought of one possibility, one very sick and twisted possibility. I slowly cast my gaze down towards my bedside clock, the numbers that displayed against its screen confirming my theory. No, the clock read 3:15. Same time, the knocks came once again, filling my head with its horrible, loud sound. Knock, knock. I stumbled backwards, falling and only managing to catch myself before I fell out my window. At such a height, the fall could have severely injured me, or more. My heart raced as the reality of the situation hit me like a freight train. I was paralyzed, unable to move and unable to come to terms at my revelation, the knocks echoing ever louder in my mind. What does exercise have to do with depression? I thought. That knocking, that damned knocking. How had it followed me from the dream? Or was this a dream? Such thoughts whizzed past my head as I grappled with the reality that lay before me. Knock, knock, knock. But wait, the knocking seemed different somehow. The rhythm had changed, the knocking no longer following a 3-knock, 3-second pattern, but now a 2-knock, 2-second one. Perfect. These problems are dental patients, nothing else. It's the mind. Knock, knock. Yes, there was no doubting it now. For some reason, it had changed and now seemed louder? Knock, knock. As I suddenly realized why, I had to stop myself from vomiting. The knocking in my dream that heralded the arrival of the creature was now, "I'm a Mr. Creature as well as I'm in my own house," my wife cried as she rushed down the stairs in a hurry. Knock, knock. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the algorithm will produce. The knocking echoed in my head, flooding my mind, preventing me of making any action, deafening my mind with its accursed beat. I had to run. I needed to run. If I stayed here, I would almost certainly face the same fate as before. But how? From what I could gather, The knocking came from the hallway door, opposite my bedroom door. I reached for my phone, which, in all the commotion, had fallen down and was now lying on the floor. No reception, I couldn't call for help. Could I attack it and then make a break for it? I thought, as I scanned my room for any weapons that could possibly save me. Agatha. Knock, knock. My gaze rested on an old baseball bat my dad had given me for my 13th birthday. It had to do. Creeping silently and steeling myself, I grabbed a hold of its handle and walked as silently as I could to my door. Every step I took filled me with dread and fear that I had never felt before, afraid that the creature would lunge out as I made my way. Breathing deeply, I took a hold of the handle and pushed the door free, slowly, my nerves on end. Nothing lay before me as I cautiously took a step outside, the knocking coming from just in front of me now. I tread softly, careful not to make a noise as I risked being found out, and, before long, faced the door where the knockings came from, my heart threatening to burst out my ribcage. Could I do it? Could I really open the door and risk death? I had no choice. I brought my hand up as slowly and as meticulously as I could, fearing that the creature that lay just beyond sensed my presence. All I needed now was the courage to reach down and lift the gown. Sweat running down my forehead, I opened the door and swung as hard as I could, putting my entire body weight behind the action. With a crack, the bat broke in two as I was sent falling towards the floor, unable to stop my momentum. An all too familiar feeling descended on me as the creature loomed over, its figure just barely visible amidst the darkness. This, you're going to have to try a little more harder than that, it said in a condescending tone as it picked me up by the shirt with one hand and threw me down the stairs. I landed with a thud, knocking the breath out of my lungs as it slowly sauntered towards where I lay. "Stay back!" I yelled, shuffling my body back against the wall. "Or what?" it said in the most dreadful tone. "What are you ever going to me?" It had reached at this point, standing tall against my small, shivering frame. "Oh, I'm so going to enjoy this," it giggled to itself. And as it mutilated me, my vision went black. Knock. Work out screaming until my voice went hoarse, then suffered nerve damage. But what had happened? I struggled to collect my thoughts as my heart pounded in my ears. No. This has to be another dream. This just has to be, right? No. The darkness seemed to melt all around me as I focused my gaze onto my bedroom door. My eyes, the knocking, that cursed, relentless knocking that had tormented me at my front door, now echoed at the door of my bedroom. Was nowhere truly safe from this monster? Was I doomed to forever live this nightmare of knocking? I nodded, explaining that passing through was extremely dangerous. The wait. The knocking had changed once again. I silently listened as the knocking continued. Yes, it had changed. At my front door, it had been 3 knocks with a 3-second pause. At my hallway door, it was 2 knocks with a 2-second pause. And now it was just one solitary knock, followed by a single second of silence. How the devil had people managed to keep it that distance already? I did not know. The sound echoed, almost as if it were confirming the dreadful theory that had begun to take shape in my mind. 3, 2, 1, and then 0, I thought. But what did 0 mean? I had no interest in finding out. But what could I do? I recalled the creature telling me the same thing. I was powerless, helpless against whatever it chose to do to me, too weak to stop it. Malfoy smiled. No. Once more I scanned my room, not for any weapons, fighting back would be impossible, I now realized, but for ways I could potentially escape its grasp. Nothing except the window, which I had almost fallen through, now was the only option that could put distance between me and the monster. Getting off my bed, I reached the window and looked outside, down towards Totan to the ground. It was too dark to see anything, but I knew that a fall at this height could break a bone, or worse, but I had no other options. Feeling my resolve, I took a shaky breath and then climbed onto the windowsill, body shaking as I did so. With a last look back at my room, I jumped. The cold air rushed past me as gravity took hold, and a fleeting doubt crept into my mind. Had I made the right choice? But no, I would be safer this way, out of reach from the creature, even if it meant taking this terrifying leap. Something wasn't right. No, how long had I been falling? Time seemed to stretch, but the sound of that knocking, persistent, maddening, still echoed in my ears. Why could I still hear it? No. I struggled to make sense of what was happening as I tumbled through the air, spiraling into a seemingly endless abyss. No matter how long I fell, it felt like I wasn't getting any closer to the ground. The descent stretched on, an unrelenting void with no end in sight. But that knocking, that horrible sound which ate away at my sanity, continued still, seeming to taunt me as I tumbled through the air. I had no idea how far I'd fallen or how much distance I'd covered, but what I did know was that after what felt like an eternity, I finally hit the ground. The impact was jarring, the pain of being crushed against the earth, almost a relief, compared to the agonizing uncertainty of the fall. And throughout all of this, the knocking continued, never once decreasing in volume or faltering in its rhythm. As I struggled to keep my eyes open, I saw the creature once again above me, preparing to consume me like it had done before. And then, my vision went black. I don't know if there's anyone out there reading this. My Wi-Fi and cell service are both down, and it's always dark outside. I fear I'm the only one left in this world. During my escape attempts, I saw no signs of life. No people, no houses, nothing but emptiness. It's always 3:15, and I grow neither tired nor hungry. Time feels suspended. I'm stuck in this strange, unending moment, and I can't tell if I'm the last one alive or if there was never anyone here to begin with. And yet I still hope someone's out there reading my account right now. My name is... I live in Forest Hill, and I don't know how much longer I can last here. If time has stopped for me alone, then maybe telling you all of this is pointless. But I'll do it anyway. Writing this down is the only way I can preserve what little sanity I have left. My battery is dying, so I fear I'll be stuck alone with no ways to contact the outside world or distract me anymore. For the thing that scares me the most is not the constant darkness or the isolation or even the absence of life around me. No, the thing that scares me the most is the constant knocking now coming from under my bed. Knock.